and welcome to the Creatively Challenged podcast, where we talk entertainment news and random topics we bring to this Google Hangouts conversation. I'm one of your hosts, Ryan Nolan, and I'm here with my friend, Mike Stuglis. Hey, Mike, what got you out of bed this morning?
I woke up before my alarm, so I just woke up.
Hans got you out of bed. You're excited to go to Hans today.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to see Hans Zimmer tonight. I guess that got me out of bed.
Oh, my God.
I'm very
forgot
excited.
you doing that.
Oh, my God. I'm gonna get the pocket watch going. I'm going to throw my vest on, and I'm gonna be looking spiffy.
Yeah.
For the uninitiated, who is this Hans you speak of?
Hans Zimmer is a musician of sorts. He does a lot of instrumental scores and soundtracks for movies like he just did Dunkirk, and he's done like Inception. Dark
I'd call
Knight.
him the best modern composer.
Probably. Yeah, he's a composer would be the correct term over a musician. So I'm going to see him at the Rosemont tonight. It's gonna be a good time.
Ooh-wee.
Nice.
And that's Dan Stewart over there. Dan, what got you out of bed this morning?
Nothing really. I woke up and I laid in bed for an hour before I got up. So.
What the hell?
You know what actually
Dude,
woke me up?
like-
I had to take a poop.
No one ever gets woken up by a poop.
Oh
though.
yeah, they do. Yeah, it's happened.
You guys live different lives than I do.
No, it's honestly the worst way to wake up.
It is.
It
Yeah,
is the worst
definitely.
way to wake up because it's not like it's harder to hold in than piss. Like if you kind of have to piss, like like that's like something you can kind of roll over, maybe get another like half hour out of, like if it's just a small one. But like if you
Dude.
wake up and you have to poop, like part of your mind thinks you already did it and you pooped your sheets. So
I can't believe we're on like a 5-episode streak of like stumbling into talking about poop every time.
It's a
Obviously,
it's
like
a, it's a
an
natural
important
process,
part.
Ryan. I
Yeah,
don't understand
yeah.
why it's so weird to talk about.
Oh no, it's just my mom listens to this and she's like, "You guys talk about poop a lot," and I'm like, "Well, we're college."
Oh, Linda,
kids
find
and
another
we act like
podcast to
children."
listen to then. Okay.
Yeah, Mom.
Oh, but I didn't say a quote. But you've forgotten the face of your father.
All right.
Yeah.
On the bus, is that?
Dude, I just want to say, Ryan, you texted it in our group message last night, but I would love to just address a drunk whore on a bus and say, "You have forgotten the face of your father."
There definitely needs context to that too, because you can't just say that to anybody and assume they're a whore.
That was definitely like the best
But-
fish out of water joke they had in the movie.
Yeah. And that is a quote from The Dark Tower, which we'll be reviewing
Starring
later on
Idris
after our
Elba
news
and
section.
his Dark Tower.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Oh my
made
God.
that joke. I made that joke like 3 times yesterday. I put it on my Snap story when every time we see a movie, I see a movie, I like put it on my Snap story. And lately, I've made jokes about it. But I said it then, and then when I paid Mike for the movie ticket, I put it in the Venmo post, and our buddy Dave liked it. That's the first time anybody's ever liked a payment. Like Venmo is kind of like Facebook, but you pay people with it. But like you can actually like and comment on people's payments. I don't know who the fuck does it, but Dave actually liked it. So
Why
it
do
was
we see on just, he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna go on Venmo."
like scrolling through Venmo to see to see what payments people are putting out.
Oh, you didn't pay him. You paid Mike?
Paid me, yeah.
I paid Mike for the
Oh.
movie ticket. Yeah,
That's really out there that Dave liked.
I know.
that.
Right?
Great guy though. I needed the confidence boost.
Sure,
I'm glad
yeah.
somebody saw it.
It's always good to see something from good old Dave.
Yeah.
But aside from Dave and Venmos and whatnot, this is a movie news show and a movie review show and all that. So why don't we get into our first piece of news here? Mike, what do you got for us?
So the character of Hot Pie, that's his character name, from Game of Thrones, who, if you guys remember Hot Pie, he was the character who was with Arya for a couple seasons, and then when they were kind of roaming around and whatnot, and then he eventually settled down at an inn, and he's like, "Hey, I'm gonna stay here, and I'm gonna cook pies for these people." And he came back a couple episodes ago at the end, which was kind of cool to see him. But it's come out that he actually opened his own bakery called You Know Nothing John Doe, which is hilarious. And I thought this was a funny piece of news.
No,
Ryan. What do you
absolutely,
think?
dude. Oh,
I meant to say
Well-
Dan. I meant to say Dan because I was looking at Dan.
oh.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry, Ryan.
That's
It's
that's
fine.
why I
I'm
caught
over
like
it.
the conversation key because he
Yeah.
was looking at me. That's why I started speaking. I'm sorry, but
Yeah.
the this kid could be the greatest method actor of all time. Like this kid, I don't know if he was like into baking when he first started, like on Game of Thrones as Hot Pie, or like he just, or now it's just become who he is. Like he opened up his own bakery. So
Well, the thing
you know,
is, it's
Marlon
Oh.
Brando,
Yeah.
move out of the way because this kid, Hot Pie, is the greatest method actor of all time.
Yeah. Ryan, what were you gonna say?
well, Daniel Day Lewis is retiring, and this kid's gonna take his place.
Yeah,
That's all it is.
The Big Short.
Yeah.
The Wide Short.
um,
Oh.
but it's cool. I'm honestly surprised that they let him do it with like no licensing problems or anything. But I was reading up on this story after you posted it in our Google Doc, and he made it like 10 days, and then they had to just stop selling. Like this all happened late July in London, and they had 10 days of amazing service, and they actually had to say like we can't supply this anymore, so we're gonna have to take a break. Obviously, they're probably still working now, but like they ran out of stock or maybe even labor. I don't know, but they sold out really hard because people wanted this stuff. It's really cool.
That is really cool, and I just think it's so cool too that he's like known his character trait is making good pies in the show, and like I want to try it. I want to try nothing John Doe.
Do you think there's a menu item called the Hot Pie?
Yeah, there has to be, right?
Do you think he sells cold pies like Boston cream pie or like are you fucking kidding me?
He
What's
might.
what's the other one
What?
The other pie.
the one that's like chocolate pudding pie.
I think that's just a pie in itself, isn't it?
Well,
don't
yeah,
know if
but
it
it's
has
not.
a
That's
name.
what it called. Like it's called something.
Oh, French silk.
Yeah, French silk pie. Yeah,
Yeah, that's
yeah,
good.
it's so good. Yeah. Do you think he sells those?
I would hope.
I don't know. Apparently, it was strictly Game of Thrones stuff.
Oh, all right.
And while they started to get crazy business, he only limited it to one menu item. That's this thing called Direwolf bread that's on the show too. But they only did that until they were just like, we can't supply you guys anymore.
This kid's probably making more through his bakery than he was on Game of Thrones.
It could end up that way for
That's
sure.
awesome. That's
Yeah.
cool.
Do you think forgot what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna. Oh, do you think he makes sponge cake?
Well, Ryan just said he only has one menu item.
Well, they did other stuff, and then they just couldn't keep up with the demand. So
Supply and
it was
demand.
strictly only Game of Thrones items. They didn't have French silk because French silk doesn't exist there. They would do meat pies because that's from Game
I
of
like
Thrones.
that.
Like mince
yeah.
pies, dude.
That'd
Oh,
be
they're
cool
so
if
good.
if he kept it just to Game of Thrones too.
And it should be that way.
Yeah,
It should
no,
be.
totally.
Yeah.
So, yeah, good for. I think his name's Ben Hawley. I'm trying to test out my knowledge. I'm looking.
The
it
last
up.
name is right. You got the last name
What's
right.
his first name?
It might be Ben for all I know. I don't fucking know.
All right, we can. I think we can move on, and I'm gonna look it
Sure.
up now, and I'm gonna confirm myself.
It's been rumored for months that Avengers director Joss Whedon was going to be doing the Batgirl movie, and it is official now as he is signed on to direct the Batgirl movie. There hasn't been any casting yet. I have no idea when they start this movie, but it's currently in development. The director of the Avengers is making a Batgirl movie. I'm very happy about this. This guy knows what he's doing, and I just hope they execute a good Batgirl movie. That's all I could really ask for. What do you guys think?
The character of Batgirl is a great character, but I like a paralyzed Batgirl moreover when she's just kind of Oracle and she just sits in a fucking chair and has all
For
eyes
the
on her.
uninitiated, what do you mean by
Okay,
that?
so
Yeah.
Barbara Gordon, who is Jim Gordon's daughter, ends up like working for Batman as Batgirl, and then one night the Joker comes by her apartment and fucking paralyzes her, and then obviously she can't be Batgirl anymore, so she rolls around in her She rolls around in her chair and, has all these computer screens and tells Batman what's going on and, gives Alfred a break every once in a while.
She's essentially Jarvis for
Yeah, basically.
more or less.
for Iron Man.
Yeah, more or less. Yeah, but I got a feeling like she's gonna be walking this whole movie, and
That would make sense.
yeah, I'm not about it.
Not about it.
But Joss Whedon, the fact that he's over in the DC universe right now, having to like fucking like clean this shit up, like it's a great thing. So, maybe just the way the dumpster fire has been with the other DC universe movies, maybe just the DC women have good movies. Like Wonder Woman had a great movie, and maybe Batgirl's a great movie, and then we can just kind of forget about the rest,
I think they might be going like a standalone route with this too, which would be really cool. if
Oh,
they
just not
kinda-
even ever involve
Like, I
Batgirl
never
with
read
the
that, but
Justice
that's just,
League.
I think that'd be cool, and it just came to me. I would want Josh Whedon for all the reasons you guys said. I could see Emily Blunt playing Batgirl too. I don't know why, but that's the first.
Oh,
name
she's
that
playing
popped in my head.
Mary Poppins in
Yeah.
Mary Poppins sequel.
Yeah.
And
That's pretty
Dick
cool.
Van Dyke is playing somebody who's not Bert.
Where in the Batman timeline do you think this would take place?
Well,
That's
I'm
tough.
thinking like, so Ben Affleck was kind of in Batman v Superman, like was like an older Batman, like 40-year-old Batman, like. So I'm thinking like this is like 20 years earlier, because at the time Batman v Superman, like Batman's just working alone, like Robin's dead, and I'm thinking that like Batgirl is or Oracle or whoever is just gone at that point too.
I don't know.
Yeah,
It's
don't
so
know.
far
Yeah.
out. We don't know how they're building this universe. Like Zack Snyder, director of Batman v Superman, Man of Steel, and soon to be Justice League. He kind of he shit the bed, right? And Joss Whedon is now hired, and he's taking the sheets off the bed frame, and he's taking them in the backyard, and he's gonna burn the sheets. And it just seems like he's gonna revamp this whole thing, and he's gonna fix it. So we'll see.
I fact checked myself. His name's Ben Hockey, not Hawley. Hockey.
Oh, okay. Close.
Yeah.
Not to get too off topic, but I agree. I mean, I don't think there's much to be said because of how early in development this is, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was just kind of like its own thing and wasn't super connected. That wouldn't surprise me. But we'll see. We'll see.
I hope she kicks ass.
I think she definitely will.
We can assume that much. Yeah.
I hope Batman's in it.
I don't.
Oh, really?
No, because then you want more Batman, and it's just because I like when stuff's like Wonder Woman, and you focus on just the hero and villain. We're getting too into like you have to do these team ups, which sometimes are great. But sometimes they're
I get what you're
over-reliant.
saying, and I do understand. But remember the beginning of the Killing Joke cartoon?
Yeah, it was not good.
Yeah. Well, I didn't like it, but like. I like how Batman was a side character before he became a main character in that.
Yeah, but it was super forced how they handled.
Oh yeah, that was just fucking unnecessary, and like.
But we're getting into the weeds here.
Yeah, exactly.
Our next story, they've just started filming the Transformers spin-off for just Bumblebee. It's actually starring John Cena's in it. Pamela Alden's in it. If you know, she's a comedian. She's in Louis. If anyone's watched that. But the immediate gut reaction from everybody is like, why are they still doing Transformers? Obviously, they make money, but Jesus Christ, they're getting pretty bad. But this one's different, and I actually would want to go to the theaters to see this. I haven't wanted to see a Transformers movie for quite some time, but the director is Travis Knight, and he did a lot of kind of animation department stuff, and then he just directed Kubo and the Two Strings from 2016. It's a really good movie. It got Oscar recognition. But this takes place in 1987, and a high school kid finds Bumblebee in a junkyard, and no one else knows the rest, but it kind of seems Spielberg-esque in like a young kid will find like this amazing fantasy sci-fi machine, and then like things ensue from there. But the premise right now seems like something I'd be interested in. But who knows? This could just turn into the regular Transformers movie that we all don't like.
Wasn't that the plot?
What do you guys think?
Wasn't that the plot of the first Transformers?
Kind of, but like that's the thing. Like
Was it Bernie Mac was the car
if this
salesman?
is like a spin-off film, but still takes place on the same Earth that like fucking Shia LaBeouf was on, then like the world was fucking shocked to see battling fucking robots. Like if they're going back in time now to
And they do it again.
1987 and they do it again, like then it just throws off the whole timeline of like the first 5 fucking Transformers movies that they did.
It could be smaller scale.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, if it's like out in the desert and nothing happens, then yeah, that'd be cool. It'd be cool if John Turturro was in it, like, and they made him look younger, because in like the first Transformers movies, it's like he had dealt with it before, so that'd be kind of cool.
Yeah. I mean, think of it kind of like an Iron Giant situation. That's something I'd want to see. But Mike, what do you think?
Well, I want John Cena to do an attitude adjustment to Bumblebee. That's what I want.
Dude, like, that almost makes it fucking worse.
His wrestling
dude.
moves?
Yeah, that's his finisher.
I want like John Cena's like song to like play in the movie.
Like he's driving in Bumblebee and his song's playing. All right.
That'd be the
All right.
worst movie ever, dude.
It would not be good. It'd be if they did like a this sounds like the synopsis for like a what were the spoof movies called, like Epic movie?
Yeah.
But they did a Transformers one. It's like just Cena, like every time he shows up, it's like.
Dude, I was just thinking about those movies the other day. Started with like Date Movie, and then it was like Epic Movie, and then Disaster Movie, and they like kept getting just fucking worse, dude. Like,
Anyway, I don't want
Yeah.
to get too far off it. I mean, yeah, the what's his name, Travis Knight, Ryan.
Yeah.
Yeah, he has done a lot of cool stuff recently. It's gonna be interesting to see him take on a live action movie. I don't know. I just can't really. I think they are Hollywood's trying to make John Cena an action star, because he's been in some comedies and stuff, and he was in that movie The Wall with Aaron Taylor Johnson, which actually got some decent reviews. So I think he just keeps building his way up. They would I really hope it's just not another like story like how the first Transformers was, though, because with how the writing is with these movies, they could definitely throw off continuity, because they just don't care. They just want to make money. So
Yeah.
I mean, I don't have faith in this project, but I mean, we'll see. Maybe if they do take an Iron Giant approach, it could be something really cool. But rarely the like 6th movie, I think this would be in a franchise, is usually not too good. So, that's kind of my stance. I'm not too hopeful, but we'll see.
unless it's like Harry Potter or Star Wars.
No, but like when the previous ones have been bad.
Oh yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
No.
I'm not saying like the Pirates movies, like it's probably not going to
Yeah.
get better from there.
No.
Or like some there's some other longer standing sagas that have done that too, but yeah, I just kind of hope.
Star Trek.
Yeah, I kind of want them to just stop making these cash grabs, but maybe it's good. Yeah, that's my 2 cents on it.
People are hoping that. Well, I mean, J.J. Abrams brought back Star Trek, and then now they're making shows and stuff with it again. So maybe Star Trek's getting cool again.
Maybe.
Which would be cool because, we kind of didn't grow up in that era, but whatever.
Yeah.
All right, so our next piece of news is something that I'm pretty excited about. So this was first reported by comicbookmovie.com. It's pretty simple for them. Reports that Ben Affleck has signed on to do a Batman trilogy film with Matt Reeves as the director. Which is good because a couple weeks ago we were reporting like Ben Affleck was done, and then at Comic-Con he said he'd have to be fucking stupid if he didn't want to be Batman. So now Ben Affleck's Batman. We don't have to worry about him leaving it anymore. But then it's been confirmed that these Batman films will lead into a Batman Beyond film universe. And for those who don't know, Batman Beyond was a cartoon back in like the late 90s, early 2000s. And it was like about like some kid whose dad died or something. And then he gets like, he like ends up like by Bruce Wayne's house, and Bruce Wayne like, lets him in and let him be Batman and stuff like that because he's old now. And basically, Bruce Wayne turns into Alfred, and the kid named Terry McGinnis like becomes Batman in like this futuristic like universe.
I thought it was Damian Wayne. No.
No,
No,
No. Okay. Then.
he's a new character.
yeah, just
I
brand
digress.
new. Yeah, and it was a really really good show. I had Batman Beyond: Return of the Joker on VHS. It was it was a good movie, but it was a really good show. And now to see like, I think for the longest time like people have kind of wanted Batman Beyond to become a film, especially after the success of the show. And now, in between the ending of the show and now, they had, the Dark Knight film trilogy, which was an awesome Batman trilogy, and it kind of threw people off the trail of, ever wanting a Batman Beyond. But now, like, old stuff is cool again, and I'd love to see this. Ryan, what do you think about bringing Batman Beyond into, like, an actual, real physical film universe?
So I like Batman Beyond a lot. I just rewatched them last summer, and it was awesome. It was a great show. I'm very happy Ben Affleck is definitely Batman, but I think that there's so much things that needs fixing, and like fixing in terms of like all the DC movies with Justice League and whatnot. I think like we need a hard set like viewer base who like and critical reception that's good before we can really go out there and do things like this. Like Marvel spent years doing like revamping everything, making a solid viewer base for things like Iron Man and Captain America before they could do a Guardians of the Galaxy, something that's a risk and that's out there. A lot of people thought Guardians of the Galaxy was going to fail at first, but then it turned out into something else, And so I want them to just focus on getting a good base first before they go off and do something like that. But if the time comes down the road that we're ready for something like that, definitely, it'd be great.
I'm really sick of seeing DC laying out their future. This is the second time they've said that they're doing a Batman trilogy, like of standalone movies. They said they were first doing it with Affleck setting to write and direct them, and it just seems like this has been their vision all along. And like you said, Ryan, I really want them just to get the base first, because what you see about Marvel is they don't put it all on the table. They almost go movie by movie, and they let the story unfold. And then the new story comes out, and you say, all right, these are the next couple movies that are the fallout because of this event. And I don't like that DC keeps doing this. They announced Justice League Part 1 and 2 together, and then they've already said they're doing 3 Batman movies, and they're doing a Shazam movie, and an Aquaman, and a Flash. And I mean, they're just laying out this whole blueprint before it even comes to fruition. And I think it would be best to just keep this kind of stuff in their pocket, and then almost like, all right, we've done these first 2 Batman movies, and let's assume they're good. And then they're like, all right, this third one is the last one, and then after we're doing Batman Beyond. That would have got people more excited, but when you lay out a plan like this, it's very easy to just scrap it. And they almost scrapped the Ben Affleck trilogy, but luckily they were able to keep him on, and they got Matt Reeves and everything. But I just wish they were more, they took more caution instead of just throwing everything out there, because it's very easy to say we're going to do a trilogy. But you gotta have success initially before you start announcing everything. Like Rise of the Planet of the Apes was expected to be a pretty poor movie and shock the world. And then they said we're doing Dawn, and they did Dawn, and they said we're doing War, and then right there you have a nice trilogy. That's how you do it. You don't just say even before one movie comes out, oh, we're doing a trilogy. Christopher Nolan did the same thing.
Yep.
He didn't come out and say I'm doing all this at once.
Because like, like he kind of like threw in that scene at the end with the Joker card as like a reshoot.
Mm-hmm.
Like it was kind of like it went through a test audience before that scene was shot. which is pretty cool. I never knew that, but that was awesome. But I kind of wish I found out about Batman Beyond in like during a teaser trailer like 2 years from now. You know, like I love the show and everything like that. And if I hadn't known about it and saw like a teaser trailer for it, I would have like fucking shit my britches, you know. So you're right. I mean, but DC has never been good with their marketing with their movies so far. You know, like they just. I feel like every week we talk about how shitty DC has done with announcing their films and going about how they're gonna do their films. So,
They're just in
but
such a hurry, man.
yeah, I mean, they're just playing catch up with Marvel. We've said it time and time again. But again, we have to say with this whole DC universe, we'll just have to wait and see because we really won't know until it's out. So just be patient. Everybody be patient. It's all good. All right, Mike, what's the next thing there?
Oh, Chiwetel Ejiofor, actor known for movies like 12 Years a Slave and American Gangster, is in talks to voice Scar in Disney's live-action Lion King, which will be directed by Jon Favreau. The original Scar in Lion King, and what was it, 94? Something like that?
Yeah.
Was voiced by Jeremy Irons. So, what do you guys think of Chiwetel Ejiofor possibly voicing Scar?
I like it. You know, it's kind of like they're recasting everybody, even though like everybody who was in the Lion King originally is still alive. But they're keeping James Earl Jones as Mufasa, which like I love that. Like I love how they're just keeping him just because, even though they're recasting everybody else. So you know, like Chiwetel Ejiofor has a very powerful voice, and him being Scar, I think he can really take that to the next level and do a good job. What I really like is Billy Eichner is the voice of Timon. He's hilarious, and then Seth Rogen is going to be the voice of Pumbaa.
I saw that. Yeah.
So, and then Donald Glover is being Simba. So you know they've got an impressive voice cast so far. I mean, those guys are impressive, even not as voices, you know. But adding Chiwetel Ejiofor would be an awesome casting for Scar.
They're really sticking to the British thing, it seems like,
Yeah.
too.
You got to.
Yeah. Ryan, what do you think?
I haven't seen all this guy's work, but I know his voice, and I like it. It's good casting. That's all I got.
You know, I just watched Doctor Strange for the first time since I saw it in theaters, and I loved it like way more the second time watching it. Yeah, and he is awesome in it.
He was my favorite part
Yeah.
when we saw it. Him and Cumberbatch.
Yeah, but really, I love that film. Like, and I forgot that he's gonna be in Thor, and that post-credit scene was funny.
Mordo, who's Ejiofor's character in Strange, will actually be the villain in Strange 2. It looked like from the
Yeah,
post-credits.
Modor, he's a bad guy.
Yeah.
He's no good. Yeah.
But anyway, staying to Lion King, I like it. He wasn't the first name that came to my mind when I thought of people who can voice Scar. Honestly, but they casted Idris Elba as Shere Khan in Jungle Book, and he was arguably the best part of that movie. And I have no doubt that Ejiofor will do the same thing because, I mean, Ryan, if you haven't seen 12 Years a Slave, it's a rough watch, but I highly suggest it. He really should have won an Oscar for that movie, but
Okay.
yeah, I'm down with it too. I think it's good casting. So yeah, I think this project's gonna be awesome, especially since Favreau's involved.
John Oliver got casted as Zazu too.
Yeah, I hope he croaks before then. Fuck that guy. Move on.
All right, so this was big news coming out of the sports realm yesterday. So ESPN is changing the channel ESPNU into ESPN8 The Ocho, made famous by the movie Dodgeball, for a day on August 8th. And they're going to be showing sports like roller derby and actual like trampoline dodgeball and stuff like that. Like they're actually going to be showing like random sports, and I think this is hilarious. I don't know like if it has anything to do like with dodgeball, but I know they were doing like a charity dodgeball game or something like that where Vince Vaughn, Ben Stiller, the chick, and Justin Long.
Stiller's wife, right?
Or she used
ex-wife,
to, yeah, she used to be.
Yeah.
They did a promo like at the beginning of summer where they were doing some charity dodgeball tournament, and if like you donated money and then you get thrown into a pool or whatever, like you get to play dodgeball with them. I don't know if this is related to that, but for whatever reason, ESPN's U is changing into ESPN 8 The Ocho for a day, and that's gonna be funny.
Oh, it's just one day.
Yeah, August 8th is 8/8, so Ocho.
I find it funny.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm probably not gonna watch.
Well, that's on
I just
when is that, Tuesday? Yeah. So like on Tuesday, I might tune into trampoline dodgeball or roller
I
derby
think
or
it'd
whatever
be
the
cool
hell
if
else they
did
got
it,
in
like,
there.
If they did it like once a year, and they had the guy who did the
That'd be cool.
voiceover for in dodgeball, like the Ocho.
Yeah.
And I'd love if they had Gary Cole and Jason Bateman announcing as Pepper Brooks and whatever Gary Cole's character's name is.
Cotton. Yeah.
You will not be able to see very well, Cotton.
Such a funny movie.
What a shocking event! I feel shocked. Anyway,
Oh,
It's just,
what a great
it's
movie.
just odd. That movie's 13 years old, and they're finally doing this. I would have figured like they'd do it that year, the next year, whatever. That would have been hilarious, and a lot of people probably would have been behind it. So to see it now in 2017 is a little strange, but like it's awesome that they're actually showcasing the lesser known sports for a whole day. I'm totally behind it. It's funny.
what was the one they had in a dodgeball where the guys got the magazine and it was like midget tossing or something like that as one of the sports.
Yeah, and then I remember the famous clip of the squirrel on the jet skis was like part of their opening like broadcast. Oh man.
Yeah, I hope they just have like some of that stuff for like spoof commercials. I think that would be hilarious. But yeah, it's the Ocho. I don't really have anything else to say. I think it's funny.
It's a good headline.
Yeah.
Well, moving on. We saw a movie this week. We saw The Dark Tower, directed by Nikolai Arcel.
Nikolai. Yeah.
It's Nikolai. I figured if I said it wrong the first time. The last gunslinger has been locked in an eternal battle with the Man in Black, determined to prevent him from toppling the Dark Tower, which holds the universe together. With the fate of the worlds at stake, good and evil will collide in the ultimate battle. This movie stars Idris Elba, Matthew McConaughey, and Tom Taylor. Let's jump right into the positives. What did you guys think?
I'm a huge Stephen King fan, but I'm embarrassed to say I've never read the Dark Tower books, but there are 8 of them in the Dark Tower saga. Now, I don't know what the plans are for the Dark Tower as a film series, but with this film, I liked the characters. I liked Idris Elba. I liked the kid, Jake Chambers, played by Tom Taylor. I thought he did a good job. I thought the universe that they kind of built, like the middle world and Keystone Earth and stuff like that. I like the separation between Earth and their world. And I like the whole lore. I like universe building and everything like that. I kind of liked the characters. I like that there are gunslingers and the Man in Black and seers and everything like that. I like fantasy stuff like that. And this was Stephen King's crack at like a giant universe as books. And as I like to see books turned into movies most of the time, and I just kind of liked seeing somebody attempt to bring this fantasy universe to life. Those are my positives.
I'll agree with Elba. I thought he was definitely the standout. He tried really hard to save this movie. I mean, he was really believable as a badass. I like the scene when he's it's not really a spoiler, but he's like injured in a sense, and he's kind of just walking around and fucking shooting while he's like falling over and stuff. Like he did a lot of good physical acting too, and so he was very good. Definitely the highest point of the movie. And I thought the action sequences uh, almost saved this movie from being as bad as The Mummy. I thought the sequences of the gunslinger played by Elba, where he does a lot of cool things, like throwing, which they spoiled in the trailers, unfortunately. But he does some cool things where he'll like throw his clips in the air and he'll catch him in his guns, or he'll like reload his gun really fast, or he's doing headshots and he can't miss, and it was just really well directed, or it'll follow his bullets. So the action sequences were well handled, and it was very cool to see a western mixed with a sci-fi, and I think it did that well at some point. So those would be my two positives with this movie.
I enjoyed Idris Elba and the action as well, but I've got nothing else that really saves this movie for me. But I agree with you guys there.
You start with the negatives.
Okay, sure. Well, The Dark Tower has a runtime of 94 minutes, and it left a lot to be desired. Obviously, that's very short for a movie. And because of this, the story can only move forward, and it barrels forward for the entire time without really taking a break to develop the characters, at least to my liking, or take a break to kind of better explain this world that they just take brief sentences to say, like, oh yeah, there's this really complicated thing, but we gotta go do this now. Like, it never took a second, and it just kind of dumped it on you and just kept going, and that really made it just almost confusing or boring for me. Matthew McConaughey, someone you'd expect to also be great in this movie, was perfectly adequate for me. It wasn't really his best performance. I thought he was kind of, sometimes even a little cringy for me. He kind of, like, his outfit in this, I know he's like a sci-fi sorcerer, but he just kind of looked like a club douchebag with like his open shirt and gold chain and black hair that's all blow dried up.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
you know, that's his look is not everything that makes this movie bad. It's a lot of the fact of just it's 94 minutes and it didn't really go where I wanted it to. Apparently in these movies there's a lot of kind of world hopping and cool shit like that. And I don't really think the director handled it that well. Yes, there's teleporters and stuff, but like that in a movie that needs a lot of scale to really get you to understand what is going on, it doesn't do a great job, especially with 94-minute runtime. Mike, what are your negatives?
Yeah, I mean, you hit it on the head. I'll start with McConaughey. He wasn't given much. Very very one note character. I would argue that they wasted Matthew McConaughey. He is extremely underdeveloped. His powers, motives, and backstory have like little to no explanation. You know, I feel like they're like, oh, his name's this, and I won't tell the audience, but like it was almost like no buildup. It's all right. He just seems like a regular guy now. It's almost like Man in Black is almost like a big title to carry if you're a villain, and they almost reveal his name within the first couple encounters of meeting him, which I felt like was completely wasted. And I thought the writing for the whole movie, not just McConaughey, was extremely poor, and it felt like there were just too many people working on it. It felt like they wanted to take so many different parts of Stephen King's books, of these 8 books, and just combine them into one. The story is riddled with expositional dialogue, plot holes, and almost no characterization besides Idris Elba and Jake Chambers, the kid. But everyone else is almost unexplained. Even if it's, what are they called, Seers?
Seers.
Even though they're a cool character, I feel like they should have, they're the people who like hide in skins. They feel like they should be much cooler than they are, but they're just not explained, and they kind of just feel like they're just dumped into the movie, as you said. And they, like I said, they just tried to jam way too much into an hour and a half, and I feel like this should have been a movie that started with the gunslinger years ago. And I mean, when they talk about the great war between the gunslinger and the Man in Black, I feel like it almost should have started there. I have no idea why they had to go to Earth in the first movie. This to me felt like it should have been like a third movie in a saga because there was so
Yeah.
little explained with this backstory. I was so fucking disappointed with how this movie was written because it had so much potential, and you have two great actors like McConaughey and Elba, and you give them so little to work with. It was just really irritating to me, and I think the studio had their hands all over this one. So yeah.
There were 4 different writers on this, and I feel like they were each assigned 2 books out of the Dark Tower series to, draw inspiration from, because there are 8 of them, and I think they just kind of made this a hodgepodge, and that's not good. That's kind of like, this movie felt very much like the first Percy Jackson movie. I felt like there were elements of the book. There were definitely things I needed to have read the books to understand, but trying to get everybody, like a general audience, into like the book's universe and everything like that, I felt like they were trying to take all of their really cool elements that were probably a part of the books in their own separate, books, and put them all into this movie. And it just felt like a hodgepodge. Matthew McConaughey was very gimmicky. He was just very Matthew McConaughey really can't play a bad guy. I was never really into that anyway, and I thought he'd be okay, but I guess he just kind of fell victim to lame writing.
Remember that scene? He's like, I'm making chicken. I was like, are you kidding me?
I kind of liked that.
But he had a kitchen robe on. And I'm like, what is this?
'Cause he had never had chicken before.
Fucking bizarre.
Yeah. And that's the stuff. I talked about it a couple episodes ago. When we were talking about the It trailer, Stephen King has such unique dialogue. He really captures the human element of dialogue and has really mastered it. And I felt like that might be a line from the book, and they throw it in there.
This movie felt very stale.
Yeah.
In its writing. When you're mixing a Western and a sci-fi, I feel like you should have some cool sayings, like, from this world, this is how we talk. And you know what I'm saying? Like, Harry Potter has, special words they use, and that's what fantasy...
Well, yeah, and Stephen King's done it. J.K. Rowling was good at inventing words, and J.R.R. Tolkien, and the time where that came about was when Idris Elba was in New York. That was funny. The fish out of water, you said. But, really, this movie could have been great, or good at least. And it kind of just fell off. There was just too much going on at one time, and fell victim to having too many writers and too many hands on the project, as you said. And as Ryan said, 94 minutes, not long enough for if you're trying to jam 8 books into one movie. Imagine if they just made one Harry Potter movie.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
That's kind of how this was, they'd have to cut out so much, pick out important parts, and just make it a mess.
I do want to read the books now, though.
Yeah, same.
Yeah,
I do.
Definitely.
I definitely do, because the lore seems really cool that they just skim over. But do you guys have anything else? Or are we gonna score this
No.
sucker?
Let's score it.
What do we give this on the old Goldblum scale here?
I'm at a 2. Like I said, I was really, there were some action sequences that I really liked, but the overall story for me was just a complete dud. So 2 out of 5 Goldblums.
I also give it. Oh,
Nope, sorry.
I give it 2 out of 5 as well.
I have to go back to last week and talk about my score for Atomic Blonde and explain why I gave it an unnecessarily high score. I'm taking that back. Last week, we recorded our podcast the same day I saw Atomic Blonde, and usually that doesn't go well because an hour after I saw Atomic Blonde, we recorded and reviewed the film, and I was trying very hard to pull the positives out of the movie, and in doing so, I didn't have time to settle upon an actual score for the film, and gave it a higher score than it actually is. So my score for Atomic Blonde is actually a 2.8. I definitely not a 3.6. So to put The Dark Tower now on the Goldblum scale, I'd have to give it 2.9 Goldblums. I enjoyed it a bit more than Atomic Blonde because I liked the fantasy aspect. I liked Stephen King's universe. I liked the references to other Stephen King works, the Shawshank references and It references and Shining references and everything like that. But like I said in my negatives, it just kind of fell flat on its face with trying to universe build for it being a first movie if they're going to make more. So I give it a 2.9 out of 5 Goldblums. Definitely could have used more Goldblum. Imagine if Jeff Goldblum was the Man in Black. He almost would have been more effective.
Awesome.
He almost would have been more effective than Matthew McConaughey.
At first I was excited to see McConaughey play him, and then McConaughey's just so likable in his roles that it's really and he has his McConaughey sayings where he's like anytime when you're ready, champ. When he was by the teleporter, I'm like, that's not what a villain fucking says, Matt.
No.
I think if any of our listeners plan on going to the movies this week, you're definitely better off just seeing Dunkirk again. Yeah.
Or Spider-Man or Apes.
Yeah.
Baby Driver might still be in. Yeah, any of those would be. Actually, see Detroit. I've heard Detroit's great. I really want to go see that, actually.
There are also a few theaters still showing Wonder Woman, so if you want to go see that for the fourth time, go ahead.
But yeah, I actually do. I actually do plan on seeing Detroit. I think this week. I want to check that one out because Catherine Bigelow did The Hurt Locker and Zero Dark 30, which are both solid movies.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, that's my bad. We didn't see that.
Because Dark Tower was the big budget release this week. So.
I wanted to see the Stephen King adaptation do well, and I kind of, said like, no, I kind of don't. I didn't say I said I don't want to see Detroit. I want to see Dark Tower.
Well, we were kind of all, I think, anticipating because the trailers were good leading up to this, and it looked like it was going to be something else, but it was just really stale and generic. So. Yeah.
Well, the moment they announced that it was 94 minutes, I actually thought like this is going to be probably bad.
Yeah, and it was.
Yeah. Well, that rounds out our score to a 2.3 out of 5 Goldblums. Are we happy about this score?
Yeah, that's.
I am.
Yeah, it could have.
It deserved it.
Could have used way more Goldblum.
Yeah, it could have just never happened too. That'd be better.
Yeah, that's true.
But
in one of the books, they fourth wall break the book and like, Roland and Jake like save Stephen King.
Really?
Yeah.
That's cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
That's actually sweet.
So I want to read the books now.
Yeah. Ryan?
Moving in to our discussion topic for this week, I wanted to discuss two different things. I want to talk about if we like physical media or digital media, and then allow me to explain what those are. So physical media being your CDs, DVDs, Blu-rays, books, versus digital media. So the opposite of that, obviously, being on demand, Netflix, ebooks, talking Spotify, things like that. And a lot of people find a lot of great. They feel good when they have ownership over something. If someone owns all of the Harry Potter movies on Blu-ray, if someone owns all of their favorite Pink Floyd albums, they feel better about it. And there's certainly merits to owning physical media. Or even records. I should mention that while we're on it. Mike really likes records. But the problem that I find with digital media or physical media, not only does it take up a lot of space, but some of it can't last forever. DVDs and CDs have a decay rate of about 25 years. So if you get a 25-year-old DVD, the picture degrades eventually. They're not permanent, things like that. But it's also nice to own it, But another nice thing about digital media is that I can download a book and I can have it on my phone. I could have it on my desktop. I could have it on my Kindle. These things can go with you forever. They last forever, and you can delete it whenever you want. It's easy to get rid of it. Whereas like if I got the Harry Potter books in physical media, it's kind of hard to lug those around. I have to worry about it getting damaged. And so I want you guys to give me your opinion on these. Do you guys prefer one over the other? Does music go better on digital versus something else? What do you guys think?
Well, there's no arguing that digital's way more convenient and just easier. I don't think that can be. It's forever, and I think it will. I don't think it can be argued. Obviously, it's better, and in a sense, more reliable. But there's something about physical media to me that you talked about ownership, and I care a lot about novelties and fandom and expressing how much I actually enjoy something. And I don't think anything represents that more than having the actual tangible possession of it. Like you said, I own records. I do, because I like the act of putting the record on and watching it spin, and it's creating music and lighting it up in the room. To me, it's different than just putting my iPod somewhere and playing something. I don't know. I just enjoy it so much more when I'm the one almost like creating it and putting it on there. And it's the same thing with a movie. If I love a movie, to me it's way. Let me put it this way. If I buy a movie, you can buy movies on demand now, and they're like on your television. And it's virtually the same thing as just buying the movie and having the disc. But to me, the act of being able to hold it and look at the cover and read the credits on the back and place it into the machine, there's just something about that that's like I don't know. It's just a different feeling, and it feels like you're closer to it almost. And I don't know. I get more enjoyment out of physical media, I would say, but digital's definitely more reliable and more convenient. But the act of owning something is kind of an undescribable feeling, because I just kind of talked myself in a loop, because it's not an easy description. I just like owning things and like having sole possession, because it represents how much I care about this thing.
Yeah.
I when I think of this thing, I when I kind of made my first like digital purchases, I love them. You know, I have nothing bad to say about digital media, but with physical media, I love reading the Harry Potter books and having the physical books in my hand. Like I love that, and reading Stephen King. I love just having the book and turning the pages, and you know, the copy of Apt Pupil by Stephen King that I have has been like worn down because I've read it a lot, and I love that. And you know, like it's not like I can't read the words, but like I like how the edge of the cover is like frayed, because I use turning the pages, and you know, I love that. And the Harry Potter books, like you know, the corners of the books have like you know bumps and are fraying a little bit. I love that. And in terms of like DVDs, like I don't think I'm ever gonna do a digital movie. I don't think I'm ever gonna buy the digital movies, because like, well, I'm very picky about the movies I buy. I only buy movies if like I know I'm gonna watch them a million times, like the Harry Potter movies. I just bought Shawshank Redemption on Blu-ray. It's my favorite movie of all time. I was surprised I didn't have it before. The Batman movies. The Star Wars movies, and that's kind of it for the movies I own, because I know like I love those movies and I'm gonna watch them over and over again. So like that's kind of it when it comes to movies. Now with video games, you can go on the PlayStation Store or the Xbox Marketplace and buy games digitally, and the last like 4 or 5 games that I've bought have been digital.
Because of convenience, right?
Because of convenience.
Yeah.
And, you know, I kind of don't have to make that trip to GameStop anymore to buy games, because they work just as fine when you download them at your home, and they automatically download like 2 days before the game comes out, and you can play it right at midnight when it comes out. Mm-hmm. And that's, you know, that's great. But the thing is about games is when Kingdom Hearts 2.8 came out in January, I did a digital download. You know, like it wasn't. It came with a cool theme on the PlayStation 4. You know, so I got it there. I actually went to the store and pre-ordered it, like to have a physical copy, and then I found out that they were gonna have like a cool theme, so I returned the pre-order to the store and then got it on the on digital download. And then when the whole remaster of the series came out on PS4, I did digital download because I already have like the discs on PS2 and PS3. But when Kingdom Hearts 3 comes out next year, I'm gonna buy more than one copy. I think what I'm gonna do is buy a physical copy because I've been waiting for that game for such a long time, and like it'd be awesome to frame like the original box of Kingdom Hearts 1, Kingdom Hearts 2, and Kingdom Hearts 3. And then like, you know, I might go digital and just have that on my system and play it digitally rather than you know, have the game
They're
box
almost
be
like
up on
a
the wall.
poster.
Yeah.
You know, like I buy posters. That's another physical thing. Like to me, a background on a computer is cool. I open it up.
It's eye
But
candy.
when I walk into my room and I see a poster, I'm like, I bought and framed that. That's really cool. There's like a sense of like almost like connection with it. It's really cool.
Well, and that's part of the digital thing. Like, the only reason I downloaded some of the digital games, like, because they came with like themes that I could customize the background of my PS4 on, and they're cool. And you know, but with the physical copy, like, you know, like they're awesome eye candy. Like the Star Wars collection that I bought has this really cool image of Darth Vader like on the front, and like it's like shiny, and it's great to look at. And like when I bought Rogue One, like I went to Walmart and got this special Walmart edition of Rogue One that had like a folding like K2 thing, and it had like a panoramic view of like all the Rogue One characters like on Scarif, like on the DVD box. You know, you wouldn't have that if you went digital with it, you know.
Yeah. So do you guys think it's best to like pick and choose and find a happy medium between the two? Because obviously collection is a big thing for you guys.
I think what sets it apart is TV, honestly, because not everyone owns box sets of television, and that's kind of what's changed the game, because it's just so much cheaper to just like watch it on Netflix or something like that.
Yeah.
So I think it's just like I keep coming back to a convenience, but when you buy something, it's just like a different feeling. See, Rogue One's on Netflix now.
Yeah.
If I turn Rogue One on, I could turn it off whenever I want and then just switch to a TV show or something like that. But if I like physically place it into the DVD player, I'm probably in for the long haul, because it's a whole nother thing, because you gotta literally put it in, stand up, take it out. You know, it's not much of a difference, but like it's those small things that set apart physical and digital. It really is.
It's like
it's also hard to get up.
Yeah.
If you
Oh,
have
yeah.
it in.
You're a lazy piece.
well, if you're doing a Star Wars marathon and you got Rogue One, I'm assuming you're watching A New Hope right afterwards, or maybe you watched Revenge of the Sith right before. You know, when I took my parents to go see Rogue One, we watched Revenge of the Sith right before we went to the movie theater. We watched Rogue One, and then as soon as we got home, we watched A New Hope. It was incredible marathoning, and I'm surprised my parents wanted to do it. You know, but my little brother. I shouldn't say little. He's not little. Younger brother tweeted the other day, like, thank God, like Rogue One is on Netflix. I confronted him in our house. I was like, I've had Rogue One on Blu-ray since it came out, like in March or whenever the Blu-ray came out. And I was just like, could have just watched it any time.
I also think there's a sense of, like I already said it, like if you're with your friends, there's like a sense of commitment to picking something out, to like going and to like going to my DVD shelf and picking a movie out. Because if you go on Netflix, you can start a movie and you're like, oh, I don't like this, and get off it and then switch to something else. To whereas if I go upstairs and we grab a DVD and put it in the DVD player, it's like, we're watching this. It's like you've put thought into it.
You know, like I think
it's funny.
Oh, sorry, Ryan.
No, Ryan.
Ryan, go ahead. Yeah.
I was just gonna say it's funny how like 70% of the Netflix experience is just looking at
Netflix.
all the things
Yeah.
you could watch and like adding them to your queue and then never watching any of it. All right, like you'll just look around for a movie for 20 minutes and you never pick anything.
Mhm.
But Dan, what were you saying?
I think on Netflix you almost look for like what not to watch rather than
Yeah.
like something you want to watch.
True.
You know. But I've always found like part of the reason why I actually made the move to buy Shawshank was like, you know, I long for a day in which I can finally like show somebody like my favorite movie of all time like on demand. Like I can just go to my DVD shelf, like grab Shawshank and show it to somebody for the first time. Like, you know, like I watched a YouTube video like a couple months ago, and like it gave me like a sense of excitement because I can't wait to do it myself. Like some dude showing his wife and his kids Star Wars for the first time.
Right.
Like
Mm.
I want to do that. Like I want to show somebody like my favorite movies ever, like for the first time, and like, you know, like just having them is awesome to just be able to go and do that. Like, you know, it's cool to have a movie collection and of your favorite movies, and you're able to just, you know, pull them off the shelf and watch them whenever, you know, you want to show somebody them or you just want to watch them yourself.
So I think we can all agree that like digital is definitely better, but there is something like
Yeah.
almost really cool about having physical media too.
Well,
But allow me to like say some of the positives about digital here. I mean, I think we're really severely undermining how much access that gives you. I wouldn't have half the music I have today if it weren't for digital media.
Yeah.
I wouldn't if we were in a world where we didn't have Pandora's, Spotify, things like that. I wouldn't have known half my music library. I wouldn't have gone into a record store or a CD store and ventured off into like the R&B section or anything like that. I wouldn't know where to go, where to start. But now I have iTunes and Spotify will give me suggestions like you might also like, and it gives me ways to check out new bands, new genres that I never would have seen. And so we definitely have undermined it for that reason. But I think it's just something about human nature is that we like to have ownership and to show people, hey, this is what I'm about.
Mm-hmm. It's almost like a personal statement.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
like I think owning records kind of and like owning like a pipe and stuff kind of makes me old school almost, which I kind of like. And it's not something I try to be. I just kind of like older things, I guess.
the thing what
Yeah.
also with digital though, you know, I love digital. But if you don't have Wi-Fi,
Yeah.
it's basically like fucking watching a brick. Like it'll just stop every once in a while. Like I remember the one time I've had a problem with a digital game and it's downloading was when I got Final Fantasy 15 back in November. I downloaded it and the download stopped halfway through and I had to restart it, and like downloading that game like took like 5 days, like in real time, like to just like wait for that thing. And it's almost like I couldn't play anything else on my PS4 because I just had to let it sit in rest mode for 5 days to have it download, you know, so it couldn't perform anything else. It just had to do that, you know. And like say you're on your phone and you want to download music, I use Amazon Music, and you know, like if you're not in Wi-Fi and you ran out of data and you're just roaming and you want to like add more songs, you can't, you know. So Wi-Fi not having it definitely puts a hole in you know, digital. So
Well,
right then and there, like if your internet's out and you know, want to watch a movie and you have the DVD, you can watch it, you know.
well, that's also something that they're working on too. Is that on Spotify you can download whole playlists or albums and be able to play it without using your data. On YouTube, if you play their $5 a month subscription service, you could actually just download full YouTube videos if you're watching a long 2-hour podcast or something like that. And so I think eventually these things are kind of almost going to become equals. I think we're going to get advancements in hardware, like our iPhones are going to be very different in 20 years. And I think the way we view ownership will be a little bit more transcendent than we see now. But what do I know? I don't know how technology works.
Yeah. Ahoy.
But is that all we've got on this, gentlemen?
Yeah.
All right.
I'm still in deep thought about how I'm gonna go about it's asinine of me to buy 2 copies of Kingdom Hearts 3, but I've always had this image in my mind to frame the 3 game covers on the wall.
Why don't you just buy the disc then? Just the hat.
Oh, because then, if I take out the disc, I'm not going to have anything to put it in. I have to constantly take the thing off the wall, to put the disc back in the box.
Do you want to frame the discs or the covers?
Well, the covers, but, it's cool to have the discs in there.
If anything, you should just,
I don't like it.
The CD case and put it in that, too.
Yeah.
You could also just get the cover art off the internet and, have them printed on... It's from some shop on posters. You could make them into a collage where all 3 covers are together on one piece of paper, and then that way this whole thing doesn't matter.
It sounds like too much work.
It could be bigger too. It would look
but
less
the other
like
one
shit.
costs a lot of money. It's $120 for one game.
Yeah.
And I'm
You could spend a
guessing
lot
you're
less.
buying add-ons and shit too. So you're talking.
Oh, they already said the add-ons for it are going to be free, so I'm excited about that.
$120.
Well-
With the time and patience I put into waiting for this game, I think that's worth it. And if it has a
we have
special,
a-
if it has a special edition, I'm probably paying
Ryan.
a lot anyway for it.
Quit being in a rush.
All right.
What were you gonna say?
Nothing.
Nothing.
Then why are you rushing us to end our conversation?
Yeah,
I don't know. That was rude. I'm sorry, guys.
it's okay, Ryan. It's okay. It's okay. Do we have anything else, or what run time are we at?
What we're coming over an hour and 7 minutes now. But what's
We
our
could do
movie
another-
next week?
What? Fuck. What is? I had
I
it.
don't know.
I had it on top of my head.
Is there a movie that comes out next
There
week?
is. Hold on. Oh, I just read this breaking news before I do that. You know how we were talking about the Jeremy Renner Doc Holliday movie?
Yeah.
Well, he's actually saying now that it might just be him and Taylor Sheridan teaming up for a limited series.
Oh, that's cool.
That'd be really cool.
Yeah.
That's how they tell the story. And Taylor Sheridan, we talked about before, his movie just came out this weekend, Wind River, which was very positively reviewed, but it was very limited release. And he also wrote Hell or High Water and Sicario. And so I just read that on my phone. I thought that was cool. The new Annabelle movie comes out next week. So I think Ryan doesn't like horror movies, even though I heard it was
I'll see
good.
it, though.
I think we could do that, or we can see Detroit and review that. Whatever you guys want to do.
Let's do the horror movie.
I got a feeling like the Annabelle movie might suck.
No, dude, it's supposed to be great, which
Oh,
is
really?
surprising, which is really funny to me.
The thing in next week, I'm gonna be back down in Columbia by the time we record next week.
Oh, okay.
Are we seeing the
Yeah.
movie together, Dan, or is it not in time for that?
I'm coming in Friday morning. I don't know, and my parents are gonna be in on Friday and Saturday, so I don't, I don't know if I want to throw a movie while they're there. I'd like to spend time with them while they're there.
Sure.
You could also just ask us questions too, like I did last week.
Yeah, if I don't see the movie.
The fear topic also works for next week, if we want to do that.
If we're doing Annabelle.
I'm in for
Yeah.
that.
All right,
Yeah.
let's do that.
Any final thoughts?
No. Thank you for listening, guys, and we had another fun week here.
Appreciate the listeners. Love the listeners. Show us some love, and keep coming back. Love you guys.
All right, and that is this week's podcast. Remember that each and every Monday we upload to YouTube, SoundCloud, and iTunes, and we're going to have links for that on our Facebook and Twitter page, which also are going to be in the description. And as always, thank you for listening.
What if God was one of us? Just a slob like one of us.